Commander Teval watched through the bridge windows as his home died. The beautiful blue oceans of Kepler Colony turned black. The green forests withered and fell. The silver cities crumbled like sand. All of this happened in just 3 hours. "Sir, the bioweapons have consumed everything," his sensor officer reported. Her voice shook with fear. "There are no life signs left on the planet." Teval closed his eyes. 2 million people had lived on Kepler Colony. Now there was nothing. The Vorthak Empire had struck again, and the Galactic Confederation could do nothing to stop them. "Take us back to New Telos," he ordered. "The Council needs to see this." The journey home took 2 days. During that time, Teval watched the recordings over and over. The Vorthak ships looked like giant insects made of metal and flesh. They released clouds of tiny machines that ate everything alive. Buildings, trees, people, all became food for the growing Vorthak fleet. This was the 5th world they had lost in 2 months. The Confederation military tried to fight back, but their weapons barely scratched the enemy ships. Their defensive strategies meant nothing against an enemy that wanted to destroy everything. When Teval arrived at New Telos, he went straight to the council building. High Counselor Merquin was waiting for him. She was old, even for her long-lived species, and the stress of the war made her look ancient. "Show them," she said simply. The council chamber held representatives from all 12 member species of the Confederation. They had lived in peace for 800 years. They built beautiful cities, created amazing art, and solved problems with words instead of weapons. None of them were prepared for this war. Teval played the recordings. The council members watched in silence as Kepler Colony died. When it ended, nobody spoke for a long time. "We cannot fight them," said Counselor Rexdan from the Centauri worlds. "Our ships are built for exploration and trade, not war. Our weapons are designed to disable, not destroy," added Counselor Zilmorna of the Vegan Alliance. "We never imagined we would face such evil." Merquin stood up. Her blue skin had turned pale with worry. "Then we must find someone who can fight them. Someone who knows how to make war." "Who?" asked Rexdan. "Every civilized species in the galaxy follows the same principles we do. Peace, understanding, cooperation." "Then we must look beyond the civilized galaxy," Merquin said. The other counselors gasped. Dr. Yel Karim, the chief scientist, pulled up a star map. "There are reports of primitive species that achieved space travel. Most live on what we call Deathworlds, planets too dangerous for normal life." "Deathworlds?" Rexdan looked horrified. "What kind of creatures could survive on such planets?" "Dangerous ones," Dr. Yel Karim replied. "There is one species called humans. They come from a world called Earth. Our scouts say it is covered in poison gas, deadly weather, and savage beasts. The gravity is so strong it would crush most of us." "And the humans?" Merquin asked. "They not only survive there, they rule it. They fight each other constantly. They use weapons that can destroy entire cities. Our xenobiologists think they might be the most dangerous species in the galaxy." The council fell silent again. Finally, Counselor Zilmorna spoke. "You want us to ask monsters to save us from other monsters?" "Yes," Merquin said firmly. "Because our monsters might be stronger than their monsters." The vote was close. 7 counselors agreed to send the message. 5 voted against it. Merquin cast the deciding vote. They prepared a transmission to broadcast across the galaxy. It contained everything: the Vorthak attacks, the deaths, the desperate situation. They included coordinates to New Telos and a promise of rewards for any species that could help them. The message went out from the most powerful transmitter in the Confederation. It would reach every corner of the galaxy in a few days. On Earth, Lieutenant Commander Park Hyunwoo was working the night shift at the Deep Space Monitoring Station. It was boring work. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago. They rarely received signals from other worlds. When the alien transmission came in, Park almost missed it. The signal was weak and used strange frequencies. But something made him look closer. The mathematics in the message were clearly not human. Park decoded the transmission and watched in shock. The holographic images showed worlds being destroyed, creatures being consumed, and desperate aliens begging for help. The message was clear. An evil empire was destroying peaceful worlds, and they needed military help to stop it. Park called his commander immediately. Admiral Kim Da-eun arrived within an hour. She was a small woman, but she had fought in 3 wars and commanded respect from every soldier on Earth. "Is this real?" she asked as she watched the transmission. The signal came from the other side of the galaxy, Park replied. And look at this. He showed her technical data from the message. Their weapons are based on energy beams and biological systems. They have never seen kinetic weapons or nuclear explosives. Admiral Kim studied the data. They fight with rules, honor codes. They try not to hurt civilians or destroy infrastructure. Yes, ma'am. The enemy they face has no such limits. Kim was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled and Park felt sorry for whoever had made her angry. Get me the president, she said, and start preparing the Incheon battle group for immediate deployment. Ma'am, shouldn't we send diplomats first? Maybe a small peacekeeping force? Admiral Kim looked at the images of dead worlds. Commander, they asked for military help against an enemy that eats planets. They're going to get exactly what they asked for. Within 6 hours, the decision was made. Earth would respond to the alien plea for help. But they would respond as only humans could, with overwhelming force and the will to use it. The Confederation expected a few hundred peacekeepers. Instead, Earth was sending 50,000 of the most dangerous predators their planet had ever produced. The galaxy was about to learn why Earth was considered a death world. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the new Telos system. Captain Lee Sang-ho looked at his sensor readings and swore loudly. This is not what they told us to expect, he said to his crew. Where are the desperate civilians? Through the bridge windows, they could see the Confederation capital world under attack. Massive bioships surrounded the planet like hungry spiders. Energy beams flashed between the alien vessels and the planetary defense stations. Explosions lit up the darkness of space. Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the planet, his communications officer reported. Put it through, Lee ordered. The holographic image of Commander Teval appeared. The alien looked exhausted and desperate. Unknown vessels, this is New Telos Defense Command. You have entered a war zone. Please retreat to a safe distance. This is Captain Lee Sang-ho of the United Earthship Incheon, Lee replied. We're here to help. We received your message asking for military assistance. Teval's eyes widened. You're the humans? But we only sent that message 3 days ago. How did you get here so fast? We don't waste time when people need help, Lee said. What's the situation? The Vorthak have surrounded our world with 12 bioships. Our defense fleet is down to 8 vessels. We cannot break through their lines and we cannot stop their ground forces from landing. Lee studied his tactical display. The Confederation ships were fighting at long range, firing energy beams from thousands of kilometers away. The Vorthak ships were slowly moving closer, absorbing the damage and returning fire with their bioweapons. Understood, Lee said. We'll handle this. All human ships, this is Captain Lee. Attack Formation Alpha, take us in. Wait, Teval called out. Take you in where? The Vorthak ships will destroy you if you get too close. Lee grinned. That's what they think. The human fleet moved forward. Unlike the Confederation vessels, they accelerated directly toward the enemy. The Vorthak ships turned to face this new threat, expecting the humans to stop at a safe distance and begin a proper energy weapon duel. Instead, the human ships kept coming. All fighters launch now, Lee ordered. Show them what Earth's Air Force can do. Hundreds of small human fighters poured out of the larger ships. They moved faster than anything the Vorthak had seen before. The bioships fired their energy weapons, but the human pilots flew through the beams like they were dancing. The fighters reached the Vorthak ships and attacked with kinetic weapons, metal projectiles moving at incredible speed. The bioships had never faced such weapons before. Their energy shields meant nothing against solid metal traveling at thousands of meters per second. Impossible, Teval whispered as he watched. They're fighting at point-blank range. 2 human destroyers rammed straight into a Vorthak bioship. The explosion was visible from the planet's surface. The bioship died, but so did both human vessels and their crews. They're sacrificing themselves, Teval said in shock. Why would they do that? Because that's how we fight. Admiral Kim Da-eun's voice came through the communication. Her command ship had just arrived. When we go to war, we go to win. On the planet's surface, Vorthak biotroops were landing in the capital city. These creatures were 2 meters tall, covered in natural armor and armed with weapons that fired acid and poison. The Confederation security forces tried to stop them with non-lethal stun weapons. The biotroops laughed and kept coming. Then Major Yoon Ji-hee and her Marines arrived. The human soldiers wore heavy armor and carried weapons that made loud, sharp sounds when they fired. The biotroops had never heard gunfire before. They had never seen what bullets could do to living creatures. "Take cover and return fire," Yoon ordered through her radio. "Remember, these things eat people. No prisoners." The first Vorthak biotroop to face human marines lasted 3 seconds. The bullets tore through its natural armor like paper. It fell down and did not get up. The other biotroops tried to fight back with their acid weapons. The acid burned through human armor, but the Marines kept fighting even when wounded. One soldier with half his face melted away by acid continued shooting until he ran out of bullets. Then he pulled out a knife and charged. Ambassador Relkan watched the battle from his government building. He had seen many wars in his long life, but nothing like this. The humans fought like they were already dead. They took wounds that would stop any other species and kept fighting. "This is madness," he said to his aide. "How can they keep fighting with such injuries?" "Sir, I think I understand," the aide replied. "Look at their homeworld data. Everything on Earth tries to kill everything else. These humans have been fighting their entire evolutionary history. Pain and injury are normal to them. In space, the battle was turning. The Vorthak bioships were losing. They had never faced an enemy that fought with such aggression. Their tactical computers could not predict human behavior, because humans did not follow any logical pattern. When Captain Lee's ship was damaged and losing power, he did not retreat. Instead, he ordered his crew to set the ship's nuclear reactor to overload and aimed it at the largest Vorthak vessel. "Captain, that will kill us all," his second officer protested. "Yes, but it will kill more of them," Lee replied calmly. "That's a good trade." The explosion when the human ship hit the Vorthak flagship lit up the entire system. Both vessels were completely destroyed, but the human crew had taken 8,000 enemy biotroops with them. Sergeant Kim Min-jae led his squad into the wreckage of a damaged Vorthak command ship. The atmosphere inside was poisonous to humans and radiation levels were deadly. Medical scanners said they would die within minutes. They ignored the scanners and kept going. "Squad 2, we found their command center," Min-jae reported. "The air is trying to kill us and we're glowing in the dark, but we're still here." "Copy that, Sergeant," came the reply. "What's your status?" "Well, my radiation detector stopped working because it ran out of numbers," Min-jae said. "But we've captured 3 Vorthak officers and their navigation computer. Mission complete." By the time the battle ended, 11 of the 12 Vorthak bioships were destroyed. The 12th one fled. The Confederation Defense Fleet had lost only 2 more ships, both to friendly fire when they accidentally shot at human vessels they could not identify. Ambassador Relkan met with Admiral Kim after the battle. He was still in shock from what he had witnessed. "Your people are incredible warriors," he said. "But the way you fight? It's so violent, so wasteful of life." Admiral Kim looked tired. "Ambassador, you asked for help against an enemy that eats planets. Did you expect us to defeat them with harsh language?" "We expected military assistance," Relkan replied. "We did not expect this." "This is what military assistance looks like when you ask Earth for help," Kim said. "We don't fight wars to make points or prove we're right. We fight wars to make our enemies stop existing." Relkan was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "Will you help us drive the Vorthak from our other worlds?" Admiral Kim smiled, but it was not a pleasant smile. "Ambassador, we haven't even started fighting yet. This was just us saying hello." As reports of the battle spread across the galaxy, the Confederation began to understand what they had done. They had asked for help from a species that treated warfare as a normal part of life, a species that would sacrifice anything to win. The humans had answered their call for help, but now the galaxy would have to live with the consequences of what they had unleashed. General Choi Jun-sik arrived at New Telos with the largest human fleet ever assembled. 300 ships carried 500,000 soldiers, enough weapons to level continents, and a new way of thinking about war that would shock the galaxy. "Status report," Choi demanded as soon as he stepped onto the command station. Admiral Kim saluted. "Sir, we've secured the New Telos system. 11 Vorthak bioships destroyed, minimal friendly casualties. The Confederation forces are impressed." "Impressed?" Choi raised an eyebrow. "Terrified might be a better word," Kim admitted. "They're not used to our methods." Choi studied the tactical displays showing Vorthak-controlled territory. Red markers indicated conquered worlds. Yellow markers showed worlds under attack. There were too many of both. "The Confederation has been fighting a defensive war," he said. protecting what they have left instead of taking back what they've lost. That changes now. Ambassador Relcon entered the command center with High Counselor Merquin. Both aliens looked nervous. General Choi, Merquin began, we want to thank you for saving New Telos. However, we have concerns about your methods. What concerns? Choi asked. Your forces destroyed several Vorthak ships by ramming them, Relcon explained. You sacrifice your own people to win battles. This goes against everything we believe about civilized warfare. Choi was quiet for a moment. Then he pulled up holographic images of the dead Confederation worlds. How many people lived on these planets? He asked. Nearly 50 million, Merquin replied sadly. And how many humans died saving New Telos? About 800, Relcon admitted. Then our methods work, Choi said simply. 800 human lives to save 2 million Confederation civilians. That's good mathematics. But your people volunteered to die, Merquin protested. That's not normal. No, it's not normal, Choi agreed. It's human. We'll discuss this later. Right now, we have a war to win. Choi implemented what Earth Command called the Deathworld Doctrine. Instead of defending territory, human forces would attack Vorthak supply lines, production centers, and command ships. Instead of fighting by galactic rules, they would use every advantage their evolution on Earth had given them. Colonel Bang Soo-jin led the first deep strike mission. Her target was a Vorthak bioweapon factory on the dead world of Zerion 4. The planet's atmosphere was pure poison, the surface was covered in acid rain, and the radiation levels would kill most species within hours. Perfect vacation spot, Soo-jin told her troops as they prepared to drop, just like the old mining colonies back home. The Vorthak had never imagined any species would attack Zerion 4. They used it as a factory world precisely because it was too dangerous for normal life. They had minimal defenses and no troops stationed there. They had not planned for humans. Soo-jin's forces landed in the middle of the acid storm. Their environmental suits held up against conditions that would have dissolved Confederation equipment in minutes. They moved through the poisonous fog like it was a gentle breeze. The bioweapon factory was a massive organic structure that looked like a giant heart. It pulsed with unnatural life as it created the nanite clouds that had destroyed the Confederation worlds. Charges set, Soo-jin reported. 30 seconds to detonation. Colonel, our sensors show Vorthak reinforcements incoming, her communications officer warned. How many? About 1,000 biotroops, ma'am. Soo-jin looked at her force of 50 soldiers. Any sane commander would retreat immediately. All squads, defensive positions, she ordered. We hold until the factory is destroyed. The battle lasted 6 hours. Human soldiers fought in an atmosphere that burned their lungs and rain that melted their armor. They used the poisonous environment as a weapon, leading Vorthak troops into areas where the acid was thickest and the radiation was strongest. When reinforcements finally arrived, they found Soo-jin and 12 of her soldiers still alive. The bioweapon factory was a smoking crater, and 800 dead Vorthak biotroops were scattered across the battlefield. How did you survive? The rescue commander asked. Soo-jin coughed up blood that glowed from radiation poisoning. Same way we always survive. We were too stubborn to die. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Park So-young was leading a reconnaissance mission on the Outer Rim. Her job was to gather intelligence on Vorthak fleet movements. What she found instead were the Void Hunters. The Void Hunters were the elite of the Vorthak Empire. They stood 3 meters tall, had natural psychic abilities, and had never lost a battle. Each one was worth 100 normal biotroops. There were 5 Void Hunters on the abandoned space station. Park had a team of 8 humans. They can read minds, her intelligence briefing had warned. They can cause fear so intense it stops a being's heart. They are considered undefeatable. The first Void Hunter Park encountered tried to paralyze her with psychic terror. It filled her mind with images of death, pain, and hopelessness. It showed her everyone she had ever loved dying in horrible ways. Park looked at the alien and smiled. Is that supposed to scare me? She asked. I grew up watching horror movies for fun. The Void Hunter was so shocked that Park was able to walk up and shoot it in the head before it recovered. All squads. These things try to scare you by showing you bad thoughts, Park reported. Ignore the mind games and shoot them like any other enemy. Her team hunted the remaining Void Hunters through the station. The aliens tried every psychic attack they knew. They showed the humans images of torture, death, and destruction. The humans had seen worse things in their entertainment. This one's trying to make me afraid of spiders, reported Corporal Lee Junho. Joke's on him, I used to collect tarantulas as a kid. When the mission ended, all 5 Void Hunters were dead. Park's team had suffered 2 wounded soldiers and no fatalities. The Vorthak Empire's most elite warriors had been defeated by humans who treated their worst nightmares as minor annoyances. Dr. Lim A. Ra made the discovery that would change the war. While studying captured Vorthak biotechnology, she found something disturbing. Humans could adapt to alien biology faster than the aliens could adapt to human technology. It's like our immune systems, but for weapons, she explained to General Choi. The Vorthak create bioweapons designed to kill specific types of life, but human biology is so chaotic and adaptable that their weapons keep missing their targets. What does that mean practically? Choi asked. It means we can use their own weapons against them, Lim said. Look at this. She showed him a Vorthak acid gun that had been modified with human electronics. The weapon was now 3 times more powerful and could fire different types of ammunition. We're not just immune to their bioweapons, Lim continued. We can improve them. Captain Oh Dong-hyun proved this point when he captured a damaged Vorthak cruiser. Instead of studying it, he immediately began installing human weapon systems on the alien ship. Sir, that's a bioship, his engineering team protested. It's alive. We can't just bolt our weapons onto a living creature. Watch me, Oh replied. 3 days later, the modified bioship was the most dangerous vessel in human space. It combined Vorthak self-repair abilities with human firepower. When it opened fire, it destroyed targets that had seemed impossible to damage. The Confederation watched all of this with growing alarm. High Counselor Merquin called another emergency meeting. They're becoming too powerful, she said to the council. The humans are not just defeating the Vorthak. They're absorbing their technology and making it stronger. Are you suggesting we should stop them? Asked Counselor Rexdan. I'm suggesting we should be very careful about what we've unleashed, Merquin replied. The humans don't just fight their enemies. They become their enemies' worst nightmares. In space above a burning Vorthak outpost, General Choi received reports from across the war zone. Human forces were winning everywhere. They adapted faster, fought harder, and refused to accept defeat even when logic said they should. Sir, Admiral Kim reported, the Vorthak are pulling back from 3 more systems. They seem to be regrouping for something big, Choi nodded. They're learning that they can't fight us the way they fought the Confederation. They'll try a new strategy. What kind of strategy? Choi looked at the tactical display showing human-controlled territory expanding like a virus through Vorthak space. The kind that will make them even more dangerous, he said, and that will require us to become more dangerous in return. The galaxy was beginning to understand that when you asked Deathworld predators for help, you didn't just get soldiers. You got evolution in action. The Vorthak Empire's response to their losses was swift and terrible. They deployed the Harvester fleets, massive bioships the size of moons that could consume entire planets and convert the organic matter into more Vorthak warriors. Fleet Admiral Shin Haiwan watched the sensor readings with grim satisfaction. She had been waiting for this moment. They're finally taking us seriously, she told her staff. 5 Harvester fleets moving toward our forward positions. Each one carries enough firepower to sterilize a solar system. Ma'am, the Confederation forces are requesting permission to retreat, her communications officer reported. Denied, Shin replied. Send them this message. When sharks smell blood in the water, they don't swim away. They hunt. The first Harvester fleet reached the Kepler system, where humans had built a forward supply base on the ruined colony world. The massive bioship began its feeding process, extending organic tentacles down to the planet's surface. Commander Bae Tae-hyung was waiting for them. His wolf pack consisted of 12 small, fast ships that had been hiding in the asteroid belt for 2 weeks. They moved in perfect coordination, attacking from multiple directions simultaneously. All ships full burn toward the target, Bae ordered. Remember, we're not trying to destroy it. We're trying to get inside it. The Harvester ship was so large that its defensive weapons couldn't track targets moving at high speed close to its hull. Bae's ships flew between the bioship's organic weapons like insects around a giant beast. Now, Bae commanded. All 12 ships fired their boarding pods at the same time. The pods were designed to drill through thick armor and deliver soldiers directly into enemy vessels. They had never been tested against a living ship the size of a moon. They worked perfectly. Major Nam Ye-jin led the assault team inside the Harvester ship. What they found defied description. The interior was like being inside a giant stomach. Organic walls pulsed with alien life. Strange fluids dripped from the ceiling. The air itself seemed to be alive. "This is disgusting," reported Sergeant Ko Taemin, "and I once had to clean out a sewer treatment plant." "Focus on the mission," Nam ordered. "We need to reach the control centers and plant our charges." The team moved deeper into the bioship. They discovered that the harvester was not just a weapon, it was a factory. Captured organic matter was being processed into new Vorthak biotroops. Entire assembly lines of alien soldiers were being grown in massive organic pods. "Ma'am, you need to see this," called Corporal Park Hae-jin. She had found a section where human prisoners were being held. The captured humans were not dead. They were being slowly converted into hybrid creatures, part human, part Vorthak. The process was designed to create super soldiers that combined human adaptability with Vorthak. Biotechnology. What the Vorthak had not expected was that some humans could survive the conversion process and remain conscious. "Help us." One of the partially converted humans whispered. Nam made a decision that would change the war. Instead of killing the converted humans as protocol demanded, she freed them. "Can you fight?" she asked. The hybrid creature that had once been human nodded. "We remember how to hate." The converted core was born in that moment. Humans who had been partially transformed by Vorthak bioweapons but retained their human minds. They could survive in environments that would kill normal humans. They could interface with Vorthak technology, and they wanted revenge. "All squads, we have new allies," Nam reported, "and they know where this ship keeps its brain." The assault on the Harvester's control center became a nightmare for the Vorthak defenders. Human soldiers fought with weapons and tactics the aliens understood, but the converted core fought with abilities that should not have existed. They moved through the bioship's toxic atmosphere without breathing gear. They interfaced directly with the ship's nervous system. They turned the Harvester's own defenses against its crew. When the control center fell, Nam faced a choice. The Harvester ship contained the knowledge to create thousands more bioweapons. The logical thing to do was destroy it completely. Instead, she captured it. "Command, this is Major Nam," she reported. "The Harvester ship is under human control. We're learning to drive." Captain Jin Woo-seok was leading a completely different type of mission. His target was not a ship or a planet, but a single individual, a Vorthak Empress. The Empress was one of the ruling caste of the Vorthak Empire. She commanded fleets that had destroyed dozens of worlds. Intelligence suggested she knew the location of the Vorthak home systems. She was traveling in a bioship protected by 50 escort vessels and defended by the Empire's best troops. Jin attacked. "With a single ship and 20 soldiers, sir. This is suicide," his second officer protested. "We can't fight an entire fleet." "We're not fighting a fleet," Jin replied. "We're hunting one target. Everything else is just in the way." Jin's ship was specially modified for stealth operations. It could mimic the energy signature of a Vorthak vessel and fool their sensors for short periods. He used this ability to get close to the Empress's flagship. When the time came to board, Jin did something that shocked even his own crew. He went alone. "One person has a better chance of avoiding detection than 20, he explained. "If I don't make it back, ram the flagship and destroy it." Jin infiltrated the bioship by pretending to be a maintenance worker. The Vorthak crew were so confident in their security that they barely looked at him. He reached the Empress's chambers without raising any alarms. The Vorthak Empress was 3 meters tall, covered in bioarmor that could stop most weapons, and surrounded by psychic defenses that could drive intruders insane. Jin walked up to her and used a neural disruptor to knock her unconscious before she knew he was there. "Target acquired," he reported calmly, requesting immediate extraction. The rescue mission that followed became the stuff of legend. Jin fought his way through an entire bioship while carrying an unconscious alien empress on his back. His crew provided covering fire as he jumped from the flagship to his own ship across open space. When they returned to human space, the interrogation of the Vorthak Empress began. The methods used were not considered civilized by Confederation standards. Admiral Song Mi-ran supervised the questioning personally. She had fought in the Chinese Civil War, the Resource Wars, and the colonial rebellions. She knew how to extract information from unwilling subjects. "Your bioweapons don't work on us," she told the Empress. Your psychic attacks can't break human minds. Your super soldiers can't defeat human soldiers. You have lost this war. The Empress tried to resist, but human interrogation techniques had been refined over centuries of warfare. Within days, she broke completely. The core worlds, she whispered. 7 systems at the galaxy's heart. That is where the Grand Empire rules from. Song studied the star charts the Empress provided. The Vorthak home systems were defended by weapons that could destroy entire fleets. The approaches were guarded by automated defense systems that had never been defeated. It would take a direct assault by the entire human fleet to have any chance of success. Casualties would be enormous. Victory was not guaranteed. Song smiled. Prepare the final assault plan, she ordered. Send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we need everything they can send us. Everything, ma'am? Every ship, every soldier, every weapon we can spare, Song confirmed. We're going to attack the heart of the Vorthak Empire. The Confederation Council is asking about our assault plan, her aide reported. They want to know our casualty estimates. Song looked at the tactical projections. The numbers were horrifying. If the assault succeeded, it would cost hundreds of thousands of human lives. Tell the Council this, she said. Acceptable losses are acceptable because the alternative is unacceptable. High Counselor Mir Quinn received the human battle plan with growing horror. The assault on the Vorthak core worlds would involve sacrificing entire fleets to break through the defenses. Human commanders were planning to use their own ships as guided missiles. This is not war, she told her advisors. This is madness. It's human, replied Ambassador Relcon. They fight the way they evolved to fight. Without limits, without mercy, and without fear of death. Should we try to stop them? Relcon looked at the reports of human victories across the galaxy. Vorthak fleets were retreating everywhere. Bioweapons that had destroyed Confederation worlds were being turned against their creators. Could we stop them? He asked. Merquin realized the truth. The humans were no longer fighting just to help the Confederation. They were fighting because they had found an enemy worthy of their hatred. And they would not stop until that enemy was completely destroyed. The galaxy had asked for help against monsters. Now they had to watch as bigger monsters prepared for the final hunt. Supreme Commander Kang Do-hyun stood before the largest fleet in human history. 2,000 ships from every nation on Earth floated in formation around the staging area. 500,000 soldiers prepared for what would either be the greatest victory or the greatest disaster in human military history. Final briefing, Kang announced to his commanders. The Vorthak core worlds are defended by weapons we don't fully understand. Their home planet can control gravity, atmosphere, and the very matter around it. We will lose ships. We will lose people. We will win. General No Yunji looked at the intelligence reports from the captured Empress. The Vorthak homeworld was not just a planet. It was a living weapon that had evolved over millions of years. It could create black holes, generate plasma storms, and turn the space around it into a death trap. Sir, our scientists estimate we'll lose 60% of our forces just getting through the outer defenses, she reported. Acceptable, Kang replied. What about the inner defenses? Worse, the planet itself fights back. It can reach out and crush ships with gravity fields. It can boil the atmosphere around our forces. It can probably do things we haven't even imagined yet. Kang nodded. And our chances of victory? Honestly, about 20%, and that's if everything goes perfectly. Good enough, Kang said. Begin the assault. The first wave consisted of automated probes and unmanned ships. They were designed to trigger the Vorthak defenses and give human forces information about what they would face. Most were destroyed within minutes of entering the core systems. The data they collected was terrifying. The outer system has automated defense platforms that fire beams of pure energy, reported Colonel Seo Dongwan. Each platform can destroy a battleship with a single shot. There are over 10,000 platforms. And the planet itself? Kang asked. It's not just alive, sir. It's intelligent. It's been watching our probes and learning from each attack. By the time our main force arrives, it will know exactly how to kill us. Kang smiled grimly. Then we better teach it something it doesn't expect. The human assault began with what became known as the Million-Mile March. Instead of trying to avoid the automated defenses, human ships charged straight through them. They accepted the losses and kept moving forward. Admiral Park Kyung-ho led the first assault wave. His fleet of 300 ships was cut down to 50 by the time they reached the middle system defenses. But those 50 ships kept going. All remaining vessels, this is Admiral Park, he transmitted as his flagship's hull melted under enemy fire. We've cleared a path. Follow it and make our deaths count. The second wave followed the path carved by the first. Then the third wave. Each group lost most of its ships, but each group got closer to the Vorthak homeworld. By the time General No Yunji's ground forces reached the planet, the human fleet had been reduced to 400 ships from the original 2,000. The planet itself was like nothing they had ever seen. It was covered in organic structures that pulsed with malevolent life. The atmosphere was thick with bioweapons that could kill most species instantly. The gravity changed without warning, crushing some areas while leaving others weightless. This isn't just a planet, No reported. It's a single massive organism, and it's very, very angry. The planet fought back against the invasion with everything it had. It created gravity wells that pulled human ships down to crash on the surface. It generated storms of acid rain that could dissolve armor in seconds. It even tried to crush landing zones by increasing local gravity to deadly levels. Human forces adapted with the speed that had made them masters of their own death world. When the planet increased gravity, they used heavier equipment and stronger soldiers. When it created acid storms, they fought in sealed armor and used the acid as a weapon against Vorthak defenders. When it tried to crush them with its organic defenses, they carved through the living matter with explosives and fire. The planet keeps trying new ways to kill us, reported Captain Yu Hyejin from deep inside the world's organic core. I think it's getting frustrated. Yu was leading the mission to find the Vorthak Central Command. Intelligence suggested it was located somewhere in the planet's core, protected by layers of living matter and defensive systems. What she found instead changed everything. Command, you need to hear this, she transmitted. Her team had captured the Vorthak High Empress, the supreme ruler of their empire. The High Empress was ancient, even by Vorthak standards. She had ruled for thousands of years and seen the rise and fall of dozens of galactic civilizations. But when she spoke to the humans, her voice was filled with something unexpected. Fear. You don't understand what you're doing, she said. The Vorthak Empire was not created for conquest. It was created for protection. Protection from what? You asked. From the last Deathworld species that tried to rule the galaxy, the High Empress replied. They called themselves the Devourers. They consumed everything, matter, energy, even space itself. We became what we are to fight them. She showed them ancient records of a war fought millions of years ago. The galaxy had been populated by peaceful species, just like the current Confederation. Then the Devourers had arrived from their dying homeworld and begun consuming everything. The only way to defeat them was to become like them, the High Empress continued. We transformed ourselves into living weapons. We learned to think like predators. We became monsters to fight monsters, and then, you prompted, we won. But by the time the war ended, we had become the very thing we fought against. We were too dangerous, too aggressive, too much like the enemy we had defeated. You understood. So you've been waiting for the next Deathworld species to arrive. We have been preparing for you for 1,000,000 years, the High Empress confirmed. Another species of predators who would see us as prey to be hunted. But we're not like the Devourers, you protested, aren't you? The High Empress asked. You turn our own weapons against us. You adapt to our biotechnology faster than we can create it. You fight in environments that should kill you. You sacrifice your own lives to destroy your enemies. How are you different? Yu was quiet for a moment. Then she activated her communicator. Command, mission accomplished. We have control of the enemy leadership. But we need to talk. The war ended not with a final battle, but with a conversation. Supreme Commander Kang met with the High Empress in the ruins of the Vorthak Command Center. Around them, the planet was slowly dying as human engineers shut down its defensive systems. Your empire is finished, Kang told her. Your fleets are destroyed, your worlds are captured, and your people are scattered. But we're not going to exterminate you. Why not? The High Empress asked. It's what we would do. Because we're not you, Kang replied. We're predators, yes, but we're also human. We can choose to be better than our nature. The Confederation Council met in emergency session to discuss the aftermath of the war. High Counselor Merquin presented the terms that humanity had demanded. They want complete autonomy in military matters, she reported. No restrictions on their weapons, their tactics, or their decisions about when and how to fight. That's unacceptable, protested Counselor Rexdan. They're too dangerous to be given such freedom. They just saved the galaxy, Merquin pointed out. And they did it by being exactly as dangerous as they needed to be. Ambassador Li Juwan entered the chamber carrying humanity's final message to the Confederation. You asked for help against monsters, he read. We gave you bigger monsters. We turned your enemies' weapons against them. We fought in places where you couldn't survive. We sacrificed our people to save yours. The council listened in silence. Now you want to control us, Li continued. You want to make us follow your rules, your limitations, your idea of civilized warfare. We refuse. What do you want? Merquin asked. We want to go home, Li replied. We want to return to our death world and continue living our violent, dangerous, wonderful lives. We'll help you when you need us, but we won't be your tame predators, and if we refuse? Li looked around the chamber at the representatives of 12 peaceful species. Counselor, you've seen what we can do to your enemies. Do you really want to find out what we can do to you? The vote was unanimous. Humanity would be granted complete independence and the right to govern themselves as they saw fit. As the human fleet prepared to leave for Earth, Admiral Kim Da-un received one final transmission from the Confederation. Will you come if we call for help again? High Counselor Merquin asked. Kim thought about the cost of the war. The ships lost, the lives sacrificed, the prices paid in blood and pain. She thought about the Vorthak Empire, defeated but not destroyed, learning to live peacefully in the galaxy they had once tried to conquer. She thought about what it meant to be human in a universe full of peaceful species who would always need someone willing to fight their wars. We'll come, she said finally. But remember what you're asking for. When you call for Earth's help, you're not asking for peacekeepers or diplomats. You're asking for predators. We understand, Merquin replied. Do you? Kim asked. Because next time the monsters you're fighting might be even worse than the Vorthak. And that means we'll have to become even more dangerous to defeat them. The transmission ended and the human fleet began its journey home to Earth. Behind them, they left a galaxy